This episode is brought to you by Cologuard. Do you know what's really scary? Not screening for colon cancer when you turn 45. The Cologuard test is non-invasive, requires no special prep or time off work, and ships right to your door. In just 3 simple steps, Cologuard takes the scare out of colon cancer screening. If you're 45 or older and at average risk, ask your healthcare provider about the Cologuard test. Cologuard is available by prescription only. Learn more or request a prescription today at Cologuard.com/screen.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And happy St. Patrick's Day. Dominic Carter here with you. The number to reach me live this hour, 800-848-9222. No, he did not. No, he didn't. Mamdani rips Palestinian, quote, genocide at St. Patrick's Day event this morning. Let's face it, Mamdani went to the parade kicking and screaming. He's already told us that he didn't plan on going to many parades, and he only went because he is under fire because of the anti-Semitism from his wife, from him, and his recent missteps as mayor. 800-848-9222 at the St. Patrick's Day pre-press conference, if you will, at Gracie Mansion, the breakfast. Mamdani turned what should have been a celebration into an activist rally to a degree. Instead of talking about St. Patrick's Day and full and complete full stop, he went off on climate change and even pushed claims about genocide in Gaza, which left many attending, and it leaves New Yorkers wondering, what does any of this have to do with St. Patrick's Day? This is Mamdani. You may have heard by now, around schools throughout New York City, he wants a 15-mile-per-hour speed limit to save lives. But let's face it, and it's about safety, the mayor says. But what this really is a money grab. We are starting momentarily with your telephone calls, 800-848-9222. So I'm looking at an email that I just received from Dara Collins, who is part of our family, listens to this program. And Dara says, "Hello, Dominic. Made me really sick to see Mamdani marching in the parade with the NYPD wearing his banner like he really belongs here, waving, etc. And to make it more disgusting, Jessica Tisch shook hands with him like they were the best of allies. I'm trying not to let this visual ruin the parade for me. Going out to get corned beef and cabbage and may stop into one of the bars around the East Village area, even though I don't drink. Have a great day, Dara." This is Mamdani this morning, St. Patrick's Day, and having the audacity to bring up what he calls the genocide in Gaza.
I say this as over the past few years, as we've witnessed a genocide unfold before our eyes, there has been deafening silence from so many. For those who have long cared about universal human rights and the extension of them to Palestinians, silence, however, is nothing new. For Palestinians are so often left to weep alone. Yet former President Robinson has never been silent. Not when she was president, not when she was High Commissioner for Human Rights, and not in the decades since. As she once said, commemoration is a moral act. Her solidarity is many things: unwavering, sincere, and chief among them, Irish. Irish solidarity is no coincidence. Who can better understand those who weep than those who have been made to weep for so long? The story of the Irish, both in Ireland and in New York City, is at one time a story of oppression, of subjugation, and of discrimination. As we know, it was on Irish soil that the British Empire developed their colonial project. So much of the exploitation later imposed elsewhere across the world was first honed in the plantations of Ireland. And yet when I think of the Irish, I do not think first of oppression. I think of resistance. I think of unity. I think of corned beef and 96-minute Troy Parrott goals and the Pogues' fairy tale of New York. Above all, I think of that solidarity.
Bottom line, this guy just doesn't get it. Everything is not about Palestine. Everything is not about Gaza or resistance. Come on, Mr. Mayor. So one of the other things we're dealing with this hour, President Trump, you may have heard he put his number 2, Vice President J.D. Vance, in charge of the corruption investigation looking for fraud into Minnesota. And this president is one of the reasons why you have to love him. The president stating directly that he believes Governor Governor Tim Walz, that the Attorney General, and also, of course, Ilhan Omar, his word now, are complicit. In other words, involved with the fraud. We're going to let you hear that coming up this hour. And also in about 19 minutes, we'll be joined by former Congressman Peter King, Long Island Congressman, to talk St. Patrick's Day Parade and all the things that are going on as it relates to Mamdani. But let's begin with some of your telephone calls. Let's begin line 1. Al in Brooklyn. Al, welcome to the Dominic Carter Show.
Yo, what's up there? Yo, it's just a little disgusting when he turned around. He thought about the Irish as corned beef. That is an insult. And then the other thing is about him walking around with a rope at the parade.
Wait. How is it an insult to talk about corned beef as an insult isn't that a traditional meal, especially on this day?
But there's more to it. It's about the firefighters, the police. It's about the people with the Irish heritage and all that, and trying to name that. That's where he should go. Not with that. That's a joke to me. Okay. That's like telling the Italians pizza making spaghetti benders. You know, that's terrible to do that to the Irish.
Okay. All right. And what was the rest of your point, Al, before I move on?
The other point was about the rope around him. You don't want nobody near him and stuff. What kind of message is he showing that when the firemen and police go into harm's way, they don't have ropes around them? So what is he doing? You know, what kind of message is that? That's terrible.
Well, in the past, that's been used, Al, by public officials as a security measure. But I mean, come on, let's cut the nonsense. The reason why he marched with the NYPD is so he wouldn't be roundly booed, because nobody's going to boo the NYPD. So he cloaks himself with law enforcement that he absolutely despises, and he uses them. He finds things to use every single day, but somehow he's just so silent when it comes to his wife and her antics. Al, thank you for the call. Let's go to line 5. Dan in Westchester. Dan, what's on your mind?
Hey, Dominic, how you doing?
Good. Go right ahead, please.
Really quick, I'm Adami's wife. I mean, I guess when I look back at New York City's quote-unquote first ladies, it's been quite some time since we've had anybody. I mean, obviously, Adams wasn't married and Bloomberg wasn't married, and I don't know about de Blasio's wife. So it's a little disheartening that here we are again without a first lady that we can all kind of stand behind and, you know, agree with. And then on the second note, Mamdani is spending way too much time focusing on things outside New York City. New York City's got a major deficit, tons and tons of problems here. Why are we hearing him talk about other countries and other things that don't relate to him doing his job? Given that he doesn't really...
Hey, Dan, do you really know? You really don't know why he's discussing world issues? You really don't understand why?
I understand. I'm just disappointed that not me, but folks brought this guy on, and he's not addressing the issues that they voted him to do.
Right. Well, I guess perhaps many politicians would discuss other issues because he can't talk about what he promised to deliver on free. This guy wants to charge for parking. Now he wants these safety zones. We'll hear from him on that a bit later, around schools to go down to 15 miles an hour because it's simply a money grab. And he's talking about issues on a world stage because he thinks he's just that important. He really does. 34 years old, barely knows how to go to the bathroom, and this guy thinks he's just so important, so relevant. all the way around the board. Thank you for the call, Danny in Westchester, line 3. Danny, what's going on?
Yes, sir. I'm retired from NYPD, and I was thinking, this guy, he pulls another act like what he just did with the snowball fight. And he comes out and does some foolishness to disregard the police department. I would think, I was throwing this out at retired guys. How about this? His entourage that drives him around and makes him a safe little puppet that he is, parks the car on the Brooklyn Bridge, puts the thing in park, and says, you know what? Keep the pension. I'm getting out of here. How's that sound? And I think if you threw a GoFundMe for these particular detectives that would leave him hanging, I think their pension would be better than if they stayed 40 years.
Danny, nobody in their right mind is going to put their livelihood and their job on the line for a phony mayor. I'm sure many of the detectives over the years that have worked these details will say that the elected officials are quite phony, no matter who it happens to be. But we can't expect them to. I get it figuratively what you're trying to say, but that's just not realistic. Thank you for the call, Carlotta, Rhode Island. What's on your mind, young lady?
Hi, sweetie. If she's a private citizen, why can't we get her the hell out of Gracie Mansion? Private citizens don't live there. She is. That's a good point. That's a great point. But she is the spouse of the mayor, right? I've never heard a mayor. What he did is it is wicked. He kept her away from the entire campaign because he knew exactly where she stands on all the issues and how much she absolutely hates Israel. And he knew. And then he gets elected. He pulls the wool over our eyes. He gets elected, and his standard line just about every day is, "My wife is not a public official." So you're not buying it, are you? Well, she's gone there, but it sounds like she's absolutely not buying it. Let's go to Vinny on Long Island. Long one, Vinny, what's on your mind?
Hi, Dominic. Happy St. Patrick's Day. Love your show.
Same to you, and thank you, Vinny.
Just about the corned beef with the Irish. I'm first generation Irish, mother and father both from Ireland. They never saw or heard of corned beef in Ireland. They ate mutton from the sheep, and potatoes and cabbage. I believe it's associated with the building of the railroads. Before refrigeration, they had barrels of corned beef, and they fed that to the Irish as they were building the railroads. I believe it's more Eastern European, although I'm not an expert on it.
This is the first I'm hearing of that, Vinny. I've always heard that potatoes go way back with the Irish, but you're telling me different, so I respect that. I've got to take a break. We are coming right back.
The Dominic Carter Show, entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
Coming up in 10 minutes, we'll talk live to former Congressman Peter King as we do each week. Dominic Carter here with you. I'm looking at my Twitter at my ex. Jimmy Fontanez says at Dominic TV, if Melania Trump posted or put a like on some anti-Islamic stuff, the liberals would be flying off the handle. This BS needs to stop. You are so correct, Jimmy. Can you imagine if the First Lady of the United States of America did something like that? It would be nonstop live TV coverage. But with Mamdani's wife, she does it in complete defiance. It's almost like she doesn't care what we think. She's not issuing any public comments. She's telling us basically, she's giving all of us, there's no other way to say this, the middle finger. That I don't care what you think. My husband is the mayor and I'm not backing up. That's what she is literally saying to all of us. Hermit Sal says, Dominic, I saw Mamdani marching in the St. Patrick's Day parade. Thank God I take eye medication and use eye drops. I hear you, Hermit Sal. Let's go to line 5. Jackie in New Jersey. What's on your mind, Jackie?
Hi, thanks for the call. But both he and his wife don't have to worry about anything they say, because in front of them they have this huge Islamophobic shield. Anytime you criticize them, Islamophobic. That's it.
Tell me about it. Tell me about it, Jackie. And it's working, because myself as a broadcaster, as a talk show host, almost everything I say about this man, I have to think twice about it before I say it, because I know that they're going to call the Bat Cave, like the Batman, they're going to call the Bat Cave and put up the shield that says you're being Islamophobic. You can't do that. Please continue, Jackie.
Well, no, that's it. He needs a Trump shield.
He needs a Trump shield? What does that mean exactly?
Trump needs some sort of a shield as well.
Oh, you're saying Trump needs the shield. Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. Thank you so much for the call. And Jackie is so correct. Anything that's said about Mamdani, I mean, I just don't, it's Islamophobia. I don't understand how the St. Patrick's Day parade becomes what he says it is. Let's go to Erica in Queens, line 2. What's on your mind, Erica?
Hi, hello. I just want to tell you, I love your show. I love everybody on there. I have your radio in every one of my rooms, so I don't miss anything when I go from one room to the other. I'm a Holocaust survivor, and of course I'm very upset with the mayor, but when I was hearing about his wife and what she has done, I'm thinking I feel very sorry for her, because she's either uneducated or very, very ignorant. And it shows that anybody can publish anything they want, and it doesn't take much brains or intelligence to do it, because what she wrote and what she said just shows that she's not educated in any way.
Okay, but wait. What? She didn't write anything. She just liked tweets, and she was an illustrator. So she didn't write anything, Erica. She just retweeted things that are despicable. And I do got to take a break, so I appreciate the call, Erica. When I see the mayor's wife, I just see total defiance. And I don't think she gets this American thing. She just wants to live here and get all the benefits that comes with being here. But then she wants to hate being here. But then her husband is the mayor. But she gives us almost every day the middle finger. And the mayor runs absolute cover for his wife. You ought to be ashamed of yourself, Mamdani. We are coming back in seconds with former Congressman Peter King.
The Dominic Carter Show. Entertaining and informative on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And we are back, and what is always a pleasure for me is right now when former Congressman Peter King joins us. Congressman, how are you? I hope your family is well. How's life going?
Dominic, I'm doing fine. I was privileged. I was a guest of the new Archbishop Hicks, at his annual luncheon, actually his first annual luncheon for St. Patrick's Day today at the Cathedral. I was joined by Bruce Blakeman. And, of course, Rabbi Fantastic, also WAPC fame. No matter where I go, whether it's Irish, Italian, Jewish, there's Rabbi Fantastic is very prominent in front and center. But it was great to be there to see the new Archbishop. Actually, first time I met him, I've been very friendly with Cardinal Dolan and years ago Cardinal O'Connor. But to be there today and to see that, and obviously there was some, political significance in that. The mayor was there, and he was greeted by the Archbishop on the steps of the Cathedral, and he was also inside at the luncheon. And I guess that's a step forward for the city. I'm not getting involved in any of that. That's up to the Archbishop how he wants to handle that. But I thought it was significant to see that.
Congressman, what does St. Patrick's Day mean to you?
It really means a lot. As an Irish American, it's a way that we can celebrate the contributions that Irish Americans have made to the city of New York, to the state, to the country. And, the effort and the drive. And again, I go back, my grandparents were the immigrants. I still have a lot of relatives over in Ireland. And I know my grandparents and my parents were extremely proud to be Irish, very proud of their heritage, but also extremely so, maybe more so, proud to be Irish Americans, to be part of the American mosaic, to be patriotic Americans. And that's one thing, and I'm not trying to turn this into any kind of a political debate at all or discussion, but when I see immigrant groups today coming here and criticizing the country, I mean, nobody made them come here. And when I go back to any of the immigrant groups or people I knew from, no matter what their race, color, or religion in previous years, yeah, they were proud of where they came from, proud of what their people had done before them, but really wanted to show how patriotic they were to this country, which has given them so much. So that's a change. But today, that was all away. I was just able to enjoy the day, the Irish music, seeing the police, and then also the parade is led off by the Fighting 69th Regiment, and I've been a member of that for a number of years. So I was proud to see and hear that. And actually, the reason for that is the reason the 69th Regiment, the National Guard, Army National Guard, leads off the parade is that when the cathedral was first built, there was anti-Catholic forces, no nothings, were threatening to burn the cathedral down. So the actual that National Guard regiment marched with led the parade to provide security and to protect the cathedral from being burned down.
So, Congressman King, what's the real reason why you think Mamdani marched today? You know, he was on the fence for so long, because my answer is it's simple. He's under fire, under the gun, anti-Semitism, and he had to do something. Why do you think he marched today?
Yeah, I think he felt it was an opportunity for him where he could make inroads or make at least partial amends by taking part in a non-controversial event where everyone's in good spirits, and he knew that the Archbishop was not going to confront him in any way. So it was his way, like sort of a painless way for him to not endear himself, work himself in closer, not just the Catholic Church, because I think a lot of people identified with the Catholic Church when Mamdani has made attacks on religion, when he didn't show up at the induction of the new Archbishop. And also, it's I guess it's he, in his own way, I hope he's not trying to co-opt, the religious leaders. In other words, it's one thing if he's coming to sort of get himself back in good grace, if I can use that term, but not if he somehow feels he can, by allying himself with the church, that he'll be identifying the church, with his views. This morning, for instance, I understand when he spoke at the morning breakfast for St. Patrick's Day groups, Irish groups, he started talking about how what the British did to the Irish is what the Jews or what the Israelis are doing to Palestinians today in Gaza. So he tried to compare the Irish with the Palestinians in Gaza, which is, first of all, it's not accurate at all. But also, I think this was the wrong time and place to do that, to be using another person's religion to try to justify your own cause, which I think is an immoral cause.
Well, you mentioned it, Congressman. Let's listen exactly to what Mamdani had to say when he ripped what he calls Palestinian genocide. And again, as Congressman King just said, you talk about tone deaf. He made this comment at a breakfast for St. Patrick's Day.
I say this as over the past few years, as we've witnessed a genocide unfold before our eyes, there has been deafening silence from so many. For those who have long cared about universal human rights and the extension of them to Palestinians, silence, however, is nothing new.
And so there you have it, Congressman King. I'm looking at my Twitter right now for what some of the comments of what people are saying here. So I'm just curious in terms of your reaction to this. So Patty says, at Dominic TV, I just saw a video of all the security around Mamdani. What's with the rope? And all those people, you couldn't even see him. I don't think he had a good time. John Beckman says, Mamdani is a punk. pure and simple. I'm almost 65, and I wish I had 5 minutes with his sorry ASS alone. Thank you for your attention to this dream. Your reaction to those two comments, Congressman Peter King?
Yeah, I don't know if I would say it that way, but I certainly understand their feelings. To be taking advantage of it, like me showing up at an African-American dinner and suddenly African-American event and suddenly trying to justify some totally separate cause that I was involved in, especially when that cause, I believe, is, I mean, if there's any, we're talking about genocide, we're talking about murder. What happened on October 7th was the worst attack on Jews since the Holocaust. And for him to somehow to be defending, the aftermath of that and blaming the Israelis and tying it into Irish Catholics, the way they've been persecuted in years, in Ireland and in Northern Ireland, it's just wrong. You just don't do that. I wouldn't be bringing my cause into yours if there was any conflict between the two of them. You just don't do that. You don't take advantage of that. You don't take of other groups and people's good nature and charity to exploit them, for your own purposes. Especially in this case, when basically, no matter how he defines it, he is equating somehow what has happened, what the Palestinians and Hamas has done to the Israelis, and somehow equating that to what happened to Catholics in Northern Ireland or in Ireland. It's just I have a hard time even explaining it, because to me it's so wrong. It's so out of touch. It's tone deaf, and it's really insulting, to be honest with you. I mean, I would feel, and I would hope. I mean, did he say one word condemning Hamas? Did he say how terrible it is? Did he talk about all the? If he's going to get into that, did he talk about all the contributions the Jews have made to New York? I mean, you don't start dividing ethnic and religious groups on really what is a religious celebration and religious feast today, and that's what he was doing basically.
Of course, he just can't help himself. Everything is about Palestine. His people are victims, Islamophobia. If you say anything about him, it's Islamophobia. He's the first Muslim American mayor. David Dinkins and the second black mayor, they didn't walk around every day, Eric Adams, talking about, look at me, look at how black I am. I mean, they tried to fit in with mainstream society, which is what all of us should do, no matter what our backgrounds are. Congressman King, I'm curious about this, and then I want to ask you about Trump, and then I got to move on. But so let's say, and we know your wife wouldn't do this, but let's say your wife liked tweets that were against the people of Israel and against October 7th, right? Would it fly if you just say, and you and I both know he kept the wife away from the campaign for a reason. I really think she doesn't like Americans. She's so unhappy, but she wants to live the life of being here, and a fully taxpayer paid mansion that she's living in courtesy of the taxpayers, but she hates Americans. I mean, get it, go figure that one out. But Congressman King, how would you handle a scandal? And that's what it is. Would you come forward as mayor or as Congressman King and just say my wife is a private citizen and that's supposed to be the end of it for all the despicable things that she's liked on social media, the illustration for somebody that's referred to Jews as cockroaches? How would you handle that?
I was tempted to say the only time I get offended by what Rosemary says is when she tells me how much she loves you more than me. But other than that, that's a separate topic. But on a very serious note, what his wife said is so offensive. It's not like having a political difference. It's not like, if you're a Republican and your wife is going to vote Democrat. You're talking about someone here talking about one of the most vicious, brutal, violent attacks carried out, and the things that have been said about the Jews and the rapes that were done. I mean, it's beyond description how horrible October 7th and the aftermath were. And yet for her to somehow gloss over that and really to enable it, to subsidize, to support it in a very perverse way, no, that's indefensible. And he can't just say, oh, she did that. He's living with her. They're married together. Is he saying, did he say he disagrees with that? I don't think he ever said he disagreed with that. No, he just says, no, she's entitled. She's entitled.
And the reporters let him get away with it. Okay, well, Mr. Mayor, then what's your opinion on what your wife had to? Oh, she's okay, but no, Mr. Mayor, what is your opinion specifically about what she was liking or not liking? He didn't say a word, not one word. All he said was she's a private citizen. And the media that's in love with Mamdani, they accepted that and clapped like seals, basically.
And you've heard her say she's just a private citizen. No, she's living in a government building. Their salary is being paid by the taxpayers. She's getting all the benefits and luxury that comes from being a public citizen, of being married to an elected official. It's not like this guy owns a local bodega or something. This guy is the mayor of the city of New York, representing 8 million people, the foremost city in the world. And what she says, it's not something she says in the privacy of her home, to 2 or 3 friends and neighbors. She's saying this, she's putting it out there in social media on public display. So he has an obligation to give his views of that, to say where he agrees and disagrees. And by not doing it, to me, it shows his true colors. That's why I know I have so many well-intentioned friends who say, well, listen, he's making these early mistakes. These are not mistakes. He's doing exactly what he wants to do. This isn't a mistake. He wants that out there. He wants people to know where he really stands. So, no, this guy's not making mistakes. He's very sharp. He's very smart. He knows what he's doing, and it's not good for the city.
He's not as smart as he thinks he is, though, Congressman. But I get your point. President Trump calling on allies to help America to protect the oil supply. 11% of the world's oil come through that area. And the president saying, hey, wait a minute, you get all this protection from us, and we're saying we need this one favor, and all of you are nowhere to be found. The president, in my opinion, making perfect sense. What do you say?
The president's right. Now, listen, I can understand some of these countries having hurt feelings because of what the president said about them in the past, or the fact that he didn't fully engage with them before we went into Iran. But the fact is, he's doing what they know needs to be done, what has to be done. And so they should put aside their hurt feelings, give them a call and say, listen, in the future, let's try and work together better. But right now, we're putting that aside for the greater good. And we know that in the long run, the United States can be energy self-sufficient. These countries cannot. So Strait of Hormuz helps everyone. To us, it's a help. To the other countries, it's an absolute necessity. So we're doing their work for them, and they should take that into account. And so sometimes the president may go too far. But on this one, at this stage, at this moment, he's 100% right on this.
Agreed. And Congressman Peter King, thank you for joining us. You give so much insight and enlighten me on to the things that I need to be paying attention to. Thank you very much.
Listen, I don't want to be nice to you, but I have to be because Rosemary's standing over me. So I got to always say good things about you, Dominic.
Please send our regards to your lovely wife, Congressman King. Thank you so much. Always great and such an honor to talk to you. And the one thing that the congressman didn't say, he alluded to, it would be as offensive as if he went to the black community. Peter King is welcomed in the black community. You talk to African American leaders and they will tell you the character of Peter King. The man is the real deal. He is a great American. It is time for a break. We see all of your telephone calls. We'll get to them in just a moment. 800-848-9222.
The Dominic Carter Show on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
And the Tunnel to Towers Foundation final thoughts of the day perhaps belong to two of the tweets that I'm looking at right now. One from Benzo. Benzo says, Dominic, people are forgetting he, referring to Mamdani, is a Muslim first, capitalizing the words Muslim first. America is second. Always was and always will be. The lovely Debbie Lebedo, Staten Island, says Mamdani has no respect for New Yorkers or America. Neither does his wife. The end. And so I pointed out that his wife is living in a mansion paid for by taxpayers. Let's not forget her police detail. So she hates America. She hates everything that we're about. She has a chief of staff. She has a full staff. She has NYPD officers that are protecting her anytime she's outside of Gracie Mansion, and she hates this country. And I'm going to say it now. 1001, 1002, 1003. I'm not going to talk about why we're in this position because you already know. And folks, only one of two of you that send me these comments. Well, I don't even know why you're wasting your time because when I see it and you start talking about that third candidate, click, erase. I'm not going to even say third candidate. 1001, 1002, 1003. Susan in Corning, New York. What's on your mind, Susan?
Yeah, I'm a former resident of Brooklyn and New York City for like almost 40 years. I'm up here now. I just escaped there. But I am just, this is a perversion to have Mandami, who has not denounced Sharia law. Hello, ladies out there, Sharia law, how it takes away and imprisons women. Look around you, these Islamics, and unfortunately now we have our own radicalized, naturalized so-called citizens, and our own American-born people are being radicalized into taking away everything into a horrific way of like that. Just go and understand what this man has not denounced, and look at his wife. I can't believe it. I'm praying. I just pray. I pray. I don't know what else I can do. I try to talk to even people in my own family. These millennials, they even said, one of them said to me, well, yeah, America is the big Satan. I'm like, oh my God. These are kids who were not, they're being, all the clicks that they're making, the whole thing that China and Russia are invading our kids through social media. The FBI, I just heard this from on this station. So
okay, fair enough, Susan. I got to move on to other callers. Because we're short on time. Let's go to Jim, upstate New York. What's on your mind, Jim?
Hi, Dominic. I'm referring to Mandami. He's just a polished Trojan horse, backed by the Muslim Brotherhood, CARE, him and his wife. The term taqiyya, to lie to the infidels, to further Islam. And I'm not against all Islam. I know peaceful Muslims, that aren't radical, and most of them are black people that converted, and they're not radical, but when you talk of Mandami's just a polished liar. And in Islam, it's to invade, conquer, convert, or tax. So he can't kill, he can't conquer yet, but what's he talking about? Tax. And what's he taxing? To give it away and flood the city with more, Muslims. Like I said, there's peaceful Muslims. As far as the Palestinians, first-hand experience, and I give everybody a blank slate. I've never had a good experience with them. As you talk to moderate Arabs, they'll say the same thing. Have you ever seen that movie, was it One Day in October, about October 7th? That lays it all out. I've seen them myself. The first Trade Center bombing, I've seen them dancing in this store. And these guys were belligerent. I had a trucking business delivering to supermarkets, and these guys were always belligerent and arrogant. They're all happy and dancing around. Like, what are you guys so happy about? Exact words. Our freedom fighters do wonderful things today. Our freedom fighters do wonderful things. That was from their mouth to my ears. Heard it myself.
Right. Well, hey, Jim, thank you for the call. Folks, I apologize that I have more time for more calls, but I am back at midnight. Mom Donnie's wife, I just don't know what to say about the lady. Folks, born from the tragedy of 9/11, the Tunnel to Towers Foundation has been honoring America's heroes ever since. Donate $11 a month and amplify your impact with a car or land donation. Go to T2T.org. T2T.org.
Thanks for listening to The Dominic Carter Show. You can hear The Dominic Carter Show weekdays at 3 p.m. and Monday through Thursday at midnight and Sunday starting at 11 p.m. on 77 WABC. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social, on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode, so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?